Whenever the world is changing, the technology play a crucial role. We invite you on a journey to realms of bits and bytes. The internet is playing an important role in our day-to-day life. Now, in the first phase of internet, that is internet phase 1, we are connected with each other through internet, that is known as people to people connection, P2P. But in today's scenario, internet is used by you human to connect it with basic devices or our everyday devices, and also internet is used by our daily devices to communicate with each other. I, Suvarna Mazumdar, Assistant Professor in Electronics and Communication Department of Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, welcomes you for the journey of emerging technology. And in this journey, we are having a lecture series on Introduction to Internet of Things. In this lecture series, we are having the following topics. In the lecture first lecture, we are going to introduce you to IoT. In second lecture, we are covering industrial sensors and also its types and its application. In the third lecture, we are going to discuss about the layers, that is the component of IoT, or you can say the architecture overview of an IoT. In the fourth lecture, we are going to cover the application part of IoT, that is smart city. And in the last lecture, we are going to discuss how deeply industry is penetrated by IoT. So, let us first start with the first lecture, that is Introduction to IoT. Before going further, I just recall what are the topics that we are going to discuss in this particular lecture. So, first of all, I am going to cover how IoT evolves. Then we are going to discuss what really the IoT means in our life and how it works, then the main features of IoT and its application part, and why IoT is needed, and the major components that are required while designing any IoT based project. Now, let us start to discuss how IoT evolved. In 1982, some of the students from CS department in Pittsburgh, USA first started to control a soda machine through internet. In 1989, a British scientist invented www web for research sharing purpose. In 1990, a first toaster, that is IoT based application, came into a picture where we can control this toaster, that is turn on and off this toaster from remote, and that is through using internet. In 1999, a Kavish was a person who has first introduced a term, that is Internet of Things. In 2000, LG Group announces first refrigerator which is controlled through internet. In 2008, it is researchers introduced that number of connected devices increases the number of persons on the earth. In 2018, first e-car was launched, which gives us a facility of e-call, that if an accident occur, then this emergency call service is there, and it will inform to our near and dear ones, and also to the police station, and ambulance facility is provided where the accident took place. So, this is the journey of evolution of IoT. Now, we will first discuss what is IoT. As I told you, the Kavish was the person who first introduced this term IoT, that is Internet of Things. So, let us take some example to understand it in better way. Let us take the example in which we are daily using an email services. So, as all of you are using your email, you can access your email from any of the device as it syncs automatically. Take the second example in which you can see that nowadays we can control our AC through our mobile. Just by clicking on our mobile, we can turn on and off our AC. Let us take one more example, that in which you can have your smartwatch. That smartwatch gives you or connect you to the social media. You can have your WhatsApp, you can have your Facebook account details, everything, as well as your news, Google area. All this information is available at your smartwatch. Earlier the watch is only used for time, but nowadays we are using smartwatch for connecting with the other person. So we can say this IoT is nothing but it is giving an access to the dumb devices like toaster, and we can connect to other devices through internet. So IoT makes a life more comfortable, and it also give a facility to human to interact not only with the human but also to the devices which are dumb in nature. But we can say that now technology is evolving in such a way that now no device is going to be dumped. We are giving intelligence to the devices through this IoT. Now I am going to tell you how this IoT works. So before going to discuss how IoT works, I just want to recall that how human works. So as all of you are aware that human has a brain, which is also known as central processing unit of our human body, or we can say it is a controlling part of a human body. So let us compare this human brain with microcontroller. So our human brain reads some input, then only it will act. So the input to the human body is from sensory organs, as all of you we are aware of that sensory organs are used to give input to the human body, and these sensory organs are our mouth, our eyes, ears, and our skin. Now I am comparing our mouth as a microphone, and I am comparing my eyes as a radar, and my skin as my temperature sensor. So all these four sensory organs or 6 sensory organs gives say input to our brain. So the according to the input reached to the brain, microcontroller takes the action, or I can say the brain takes an action or decision. But how this signals get transmitted to brain? So as all of you are aware that our veins are came into picture, and they becomes the network, or we can say the routers and the switches to carry the signals from sensory organ to the brain. So here the veins are compared as a network, router and switches, or you can say the gateways. Now from the signal reaches to the microcontroller, or that is our brain. The brain takes the decision depending on the program installed in our body, in our brain, and according to that an output signal is generated, and that output signal is given to muscles or our legs or hands, which act as an output device. Okay. So in this way our human body works. So as I compared it with IoT, so in IoT the brain is your microcontroller. All the sensors are act as an input to the microcontroller, and the program which is stored in the microcontroller allows it to takes the decision depending on the input it received, and to the input received to the microcontroller is through network, and depending on the program that we have stored, it takes the action, and then it release the output command. Now this output command either is given to the output device which is connected to that particular microcontroller, or that output signal is transmitted through network, that is gateway, to another device to perform some another application. Or we can have something like that, that at one end the data is stored and it is transferred to a remote end, and at the remote end we are taking the decision that depending on whatever the data we received, what action has to be taken. Just I am giving one more example that I have told about, that through mobile we can control our AC. So in that case a human intervention is there. Human is given command to mobile to switch on the AC, and human is the I am the person or you are the person who is giving the command to switch off the AC. But IoT system is evolved in such a way that through sensors input is given to the microcontroller, that what will be the environment temperature. Suppose the temperature increases 30 degree or 35 degree, sensor takes the temperature, it gives the signals to the microcontroller. Now depending on the program that we have stored in our microcontroller, that if temperature increased above 28 degree or above 25 degree, then AC has to be on. Then a signal is depending on the input from the temperature sensor, AC get be on or AC will be off, it will be controlled by microcontroller. Then human intervention is not there. Now, if depending on the environment or the room temperature, the AC will be on automatically and the AC will get off automatically. So, that is the thing we are going to be have in our future, not in the future, in 1 to 2 years. Now we can have that facility also, because research is going on such a way that all the dumb devices get smarter, we can have a smart devices. Okay. So, this is how IoT works. Now, the features of IoT, the main features of IoT, that is connectivity. So, this is the main features, because we need to connect our devices from remote end, or we want to control our devices from remote end. So, we need to have connection. Then we need sensors for connectivity. So, we need the sensor that will gives an input, or you can say IoT devices need some inputs from the external world. So, sensor will play an important role. It will sense the outside environment and gives its instruction to an IoT based project. Then the safety is the most important thing that is in the IoT based project, and here we are having different firewalls for safety purpose. Then energy efficiency. So, IoT based projects are introduced in such a way that it will utilize energy efficiently, or you can say these devices control the operation in such a way that it will not waste either the human resources or as well as the energy resources. Dynamic in the sense, here it is like if IoT based weather forecasting is there, then in that weather forecasting the real time data is used for giving the temperature or weather forecasting. So, real time updation will be takes place while in case of IoT based weather forecasting. Then intelligence, as I told you that microcontroller is the main component of IoT based project. So, intelligence, or we can say we are giving an artificial intelligence, or we can have a program in such a way that our device, that dumb device, that toaster will now work as a intelligent device, that it get turned on and off at the by controlling of our through internet. And scalability, that for example, in case of human home automation system, if we have to we are using home automation system, so we can scale the devices. So, depending on the home, the number of lights, fans and number of ACs or number of components get increased or decreased. So, we can scale our device. So, in this these are the features of IoT. Just have one example to understand it better way, that for nowadays today we are using email services, and in this email services we can access this our email from any of the device, as our email is synced through our phone. So, we can access our email through phone, or we can through laptop, we can access from a desktop, or we can have our email access from another system, other person's system also. So, how this takes place? This is all this is the one of the example of IoT. And the next that popular application of IoT, or I can say the application part. So, first of all is the health. So, in today's scenario, that is pandemic situation, in this pandemic situation, the one of the popular app that we are all are using is Arogya Setu app. When we register in this Arogya Setu app, our current location, we have shared our current location, as well as we shared our physical health, whether we are suffering from sneezing or cough and cold. And if we are all right, and we make our system active, that is our current location app is active, then in that case, if we go out from our home and we come into contact with another person whose health is deteriorated, then in that case this Arogya Setu app will alert us that we come into a contact with a person whose health is deteriorated. So this is the one of the best example of IoT in terms of healthcare. The another one is like Apple Watch is introduced nowadays, which will measure your heartbeat. It will also measure your blood sugar. So this is all the application part in healthcare. In case of education, that is the remote education, here right now we are having a lecture series. So this lecture series is launched uh, for the students who are watching this lecture series from their home at any time. So this is the field, this is the application in education part. In case of wearable, the smart watches that I told you about, Apple Watch, nowadays skin like clothes are invented, which are used for sensing the muscle activity, as well as it will help us for recording our day to day activity, and it will share this activities of our human body with our doctor, so that it can take a proper monitoring of a patient. If it is then it will get proper monitoring if it wear a flexible electronics or wearable clothes. Manufacturing, so in case of manufacturing, the remote and control is given to the system, that if an industry or a plant is having a high and security point of view, then in that case we can have IoT based vigilance in that case, so that from the remote and that industries get production and its working get, or machineries automation get monitored from remote end. Then the example that I had given about 2018 launch of e-car, that is connected transport, or you can say nowadays a car is, Google car is launched, in which we can have an autonomous driving system. So we don't have to worry about how what is the path or where our driver is going. Here in that case we are connected through map, Google map, and we can have GPS location also. So we can have a connected transport. This is also about one of the application of IoT. And lastly, and the most important, is smart grid. In this smart grid, we can have an energy monitoring system, so that it can monitor the wastage of energy, as well as it will stop this wastage. It will also check whether energy is required, or that much amount of light, or you can say the power is required for that particular application or not. So a smart grid is nothing but it will help us to resources, to proper utilization of our resources. Then why this IoT is more important nowadays? So the advantage, or we can say the advantage of IoT is, first, security. This IoT based application gives us a secure communication, as we are sharing our data on internet. So it uses many firewalls, so that the data gets secured. Like I had told you about the application of Arogya Setu app. So in that application, the connect it will give you a indication that you have come in contact with a person who is whose health is deteriorated, but it will not give you a personal identification. It will just inform you that you have to take care, but it will not inform you who is that person. So in that case, this is the best example, that it will hide the information, your personal identification. Stay connected, so it is that it is using internet. So IoT gives you advantage that we are connected with the world. It will update us with all the things, like if I have my Apple Watch, then I can have a daily update of all the news, all the weather, as well as the connectivity, or my social media things. All the things are available at my one device. It reduces wastage, like as I told you that we are using IoT for communication, or we can have an energy control devices. So here this IoT help us to control the wastage of anything, like in case of industry, If we are aware of how the production takes place, then in that case we can switch on and off our industrial appliances from remote end. So it will also reduces the wastage of electricity as well as the water supply if it is required, or also the human resources also, so that the production, and also it will help us for increasing the production. It improves the services. We can say that in this way, that in case of a human needs any attention or any help, for example if an accident takes place at the highway and a person needs a ambulance facility, so if he has equipped with a service like e-car, then it has an emergency call facility, and the call is went to this near and dear ones, as well as the call is reach to its nearest hospital as well as police station for its help. So this will improve the services, like it will monitor the accident on highways, and it also help for monitoring the road safety case. And efficient use of energy, that I told you that if wastage is not there, then we can utilize our energy efficiently. So this is all the application advantage part of IoT. Now the major components that are required while designing any IoT based project. So first and foremost is the sensors. So whenever we have to design any IoT based project, we use different types of sensors, which these sensors help us to convert the analogous nature or environment data into an electrical signal, and we will discuss this in our next lecture. Then we need a network, whether we can use Wi-Fi or GPRS or WAN, or we can have Bluetooth, or we can use any network so that we can provide a connectivity to the device. Then we need a platform, or we can say the apps we need, or how the data should be streamed in the cloud. So actually IoT based projects all need some cloud computing, because it needs a heavy live data. So we need a cloud computing here also, so that it can use for data storage, as we are using live streaming. So in that case we need a big storage place where we can have our data, but before storing that data we have to manipulate that data. So we need some algorithms in such a way that we can utilize this storage element or this platform very efficiently. And lastly the application part, that which type of application did we want to establish using this IoT based project, that like real time application, or we need to have a data analytics, or we need a dashboard. So it depends on the requirement of our day to day life, or where we want to use this IoT. So this is all about IoT based lecture, and in next lecture we are going to discuss about the sensors, their types, the industrial application. Thank you.